say suppose I am asking you a question that you find out from a different sites, say Snapdeal, Flipkart, and Amazon, that where the cost of a particular hard disk is less, or where the more variety of hard disks are available so that I can purchase. There is no particular format which is compatible with Amazon to Snapdeal. What I mean to say is that the Snapdeal will give you the information. When you put in hard disks in the Snapdeal's pictures, it will give you an information about the hard disks. Amazon will give you information about the hard disks, and eBay will, or other sites will also give you an information about the hard disks. But you have to manually compare because all the formats are different. So if you want to extract information out of each site, since the format is different, for example, acha Anvesha ma'am, like Anisha ma'am there?
Yes, sir.
As I heard and as I told that the majority of audience is undergraduate students. So is it so, or
Yeah,
like
we have a few BCA and BCA students, BCA second year, third year students, and
right.
BSc honors second year, third year students. So you can start from the scratch level also. Though there are some research scholars and faculties, still as the 50% of the participants are undergraduate students, so I am requesting you to start from the scratch.
Right, right. So, dear audience, see, what I was telling is that if I write, can you see my screen, dear audience? I am into browser. Can you see my screen?
Yes, yes, sir.
Yeah.
So here I am writing hard disks. Similarly, look, it has given me a certain results. Now, if I highlight this person, this will give me a specification of that particular device, like what is the company's name, how much capacity it is, and other things, including the price. Similarly, if I go to another site, say eBay, and I am going to search the same thing, right, it has given me information that consists of company's name, then price, then offers and other things. Now, what I mean to say is that this format, whatever the information get displayed here, this particular format and this particular format are different. Both the sites, similarly the other e-commerce site, everybody has a different format, and if you try to extract information, like if you try to find out which one is the best e-commerce site from where you can purchase a hard disk, you have to compare them, because you cannot put both the data collected in a particular format. Whereas if I get back to my PowerPoint presentation, the Excel sheet, the figure that is showing in the down, the Excel sheet, that is a format. From here you can easily, you can easily write a query. You can easily make some sorting, make some filtering, and you can find out an appropriate result. So what I mean to say is that the data, everybody is giving me data. Everybody is giving me data. This Excel sheet is also giving me data, and these two sites are also giving me data. What I mean to say is that these type of image, with the different format of data, and then at some places they used to tell us that click to get more information. This kind of data is known as unstructured data, and when I am getting an information, in a particular format where I can execute some queries, that is called structured data. So going back to my own the previous slides where I left, that is why what is the meaning of this part? We can extract knowledge and insight from structured and unstructured data, right? So data science is a method which uses, see, data science is a method again which uses different techniques. That techniques may be statistical, that techniques may be machine learning. We will come to it, what is machine learning if you are new to that term. That has some algorithms, that can have some approach. So ultimate, the data science, what it does, it produces or extracts some knowledge from the structured and unstructured data. And by this time we are a bit clear of what is structured and unstructured data. So let us proceed. So why we need data science? Like, of course, why we want to study it? Or what is the use? In today's world, everybody is telling that there is a good prospect for data science, good work for data analytics. Like, what those people are going to do? So data that we had mostly structured are small in size, which could be analyzed by using simple business intelligence tool. Unlike data in traditional system which was mostly structured, today's most of the data are unstructured or semi-structured. The data trend in the image given in next slide shows by this 2020 more 80% of the data will be unstructured. So we are going to next slides. Next slide is not this one, the next to next slide. But coming back to this particular slide, so see, when we talk about this particular, whatever is visible in your screen, unstructured and structured data, our Excel sheet, the concept of database management system, there are various applications to work with database management system, starting from a very Fox Pro to today's Oracle, you have MySQL and everything. So here you can easily write queries, you can learn relational algebra concept and other concepts to extract information from this huge data. But what about this unstructured data? So the challenges in data science is to extract information about the unstructured data. That implies I'll provide you this particular site with full of information about different hard disks available with Snapdeal, their prices, their discounts, their components and other specification, and I'll also provide you this slide which contains the same thing, the hard disks, their image, their price, their specifications, their components, advantages. Now within a very short time you have to tell me, comparing this site of eBay and that side of Snapdeal, that for a particular kind of hard disk which is the best site to add. Now see, if I am working for purchasing a single device, then probably it is manually easy to compare. But if I increase the number of e-commerce sites, or if I increase the number of items, manually giving a comparison between 3 to 4 e-commerce items and then coming to a conclusion becomes difficult with the increase of data or information. So hence we need some computational or computer techniques who will analyze this entire the search string, analyze this site, and will come up with a result which is best for us. So that is the use of data science. So hence, what is data science? Data science is extracting information from unstructured or structured data. Mainly the challenge is unstructured data. So how we are going to extract useful information from unstructured data. That is why we need a data science at a very basic level. Second, this is an example of actually why the people thought of the field of data analysis. So it was Walmart. Walmart is leading you can say leading showroom, leading marketing place in the US. So what happened is that Walmart is they made an analysis, they made a survey over the social media to find out the trending products so they can be introduced in Walmart stores across the world. So what is like that? Like say during say you say during the New Year, or during the 5th September Teachers Day is coming. So in social network, they made a survey and they found out that various e-commerce sites are selling different items, maybe cards, maybe pens, maybe some accessories that are related to Teachers Day celebration. The students are interested to buy different gifts that they can, they can give it to their teachers as a mark of respect on the Teachers Day. So Walmart did this survey over the online various social sites and various e-commerce sites, and then they found out that if they can store some these types of accessories in and around 5th of September, which is Teachers Day, or cakes in and around the Christmas, so there is a high chance that the customer will come and they will be interested in purchasing that, and ultimately we know purchase of more product means profit to a particular organization. So point is that Walmart made a project, they made a data analysis on social media of what are the products that people are liking these days, and they put those products on their stores so that they could expect more business by selling those products. A similar type of example that is actually the research that Walmart did is that they found out that Halloween is a Christian celebration day. They found out that during the Halloween, people like to share cookies, they like to eat cookies. So what they did, they made this business strategy. They got different type of cookies in and around the period of Halloween, so that whenever the people enter, they are interested about Halloween, they are interested, they can purchase the cookies and increase the business of Walmart. So this is a basic example of how data analysis is used to increase the business. Through data analysis, the techniques, they found out which product is in trend, which product the people are more purchasing, and they put those products on their stores. People came and purchased it, and that increased their business. So again, coming back to see both the slides, if you talk about a Walmart, if you look at the site, there is something called social media. So there is something called social media. It is written here also. It is written here also, and it is written in the down also. So when we talk about the social media, it is something we are talking about, sites like Twitter, Facebook, and all things. So again, the same concept arises. Facebook gives you an information about a person in a different format. Twitter will also give you information about that person, but in a different format. So in Facebook, you can express your opinion, you can express your, maybe you can upload a picture and you can write few lines. Other sites, social media sites, also provide you the same kind of facility, but the display pattern, the pattern is different. So when you compare these social medias, you have essentially an example of unstructured data. Those are not structured data. So coming back to this again, unstructured data will account more than 80% of the data collected by the organization. So if you see this graph typically reflects that from 1980s to 2020 and beyond, slowly and gradually the maximum informations will be available over the unstructured data rather than structured data. For example, earlier days we used to gather information from different books and magazines. These days informations are available over YouTube channels, over different online tutorials, over different blog sites. So see, every YouTube channel or online tutorials or blog site, they account the unstructured data. So as the time will pass, slowly and gradually there will be a huge amount of unstructured data that will suppress the amount of structured data. Already it has suppressed. By 2020, that is, we are sitting here, there is a huge amount of data available in unstructured format rather than structured format. So as the data increases, the challenges to extract information out of data also increases, and that increases the requirement of the field of data analysis or data science. So we have, we have during our discussion, we have seen the example of Snapdeal, we have seen the example of Hardix. We were discussing about example of Facebook and Twitter to represent our liking pictures, our opinions, and all things. So what is this? These are all source of data. From there, we could gather data. With those data, say suppose in Facebook you are interested to know about a person. You are interested to know about me. How am I? What are my likes? What are my findings? Any information related to my background, academics or backgrounds, life or whatever. You are going to do Facebook. You have searched about me. You have found a page. Then you start gathering information about me. So what is that? What you are gathering actually about me? You are gathering data on me. And when you compile those data, when you put a data in a meaningful format to the facts, those became an information. And a useful information with a know-how to implement it is going to lead you to a knowledge. Let us not go into the information, facts and knowledge now. So what I mean to say is that these websites from where you are collecting the information, these are known as source of data. So what is this? This data is generated from different sources like financial log, text files, multimedia forms, sensors and instruments. Simple BI. BI here stands for business intelligence. Tools are not capable of processing this huge volume of variety of data. This is the reason why we need more complex, advanced analytical tools and algorithms for processing, analyzing and drawing meaningful insight into it. So, coming back to the slides, Walmart is a business organization. It has made a survey through social media, collect the data to increase its business. But the point is that if we have a structured data, making a decision is easier. Like, okay, this is the time I should put a lot of cakes in my stores. But if it is an unstructured data, you have to make a different analysis to make that decision. That is why we tell you can find the data from anything. But the second point, please focus on the second point. The business intelligence tools are not capable of processing this huge volume of variety of data, especially when the data is unstructured. Now, when we talk about a data source of data, so what are the different sources of data? Data can be obtained from social media, it can be obtained from other factors, it can be obtained from different technologies. So when I talk about an IoT, you had a morning IoT session, so probably IoT is an integration of different devices over the network which captures the data, which produces the data. So here, these are the different sources of data. So if you look at this picture, data can be of retail, can be of insurance time, can be of transportation time, it can be a government data, it can be education data, it can be health data, it can be media and entertainment data, it can be banking and financial data. So if I look at the retail, I can open any e-commerce site. So for example, this is a retail kind of data. This is the business data. Now, when I talk about insurance data, I can go to say suppose this is a kind of insurance data. So see, this is a retail data, this is an insurance data. Similarly, if you are going through these days any WHO site for COVID related, that is there you will get healthcare related data. You go and visit your institutional web page where different courses are there, syllabus is there, that's an educational data. You go and visit YouTube for or you go and visit any entertainment channel for the new release of movies or song, that's related to media and entertainment data. You go to transport RTO department say, and you can see what are the different vehicles, different types of vehicles that's available, that is the transportation data. And you go to any government sites, You go to West Bengal government sites and there you will see what are the different departments are there, what are the different activities of department are there. These are the government data. So what I mean to say is that over the internet there are a huge number of sites are there, and every site is providing you some or other information which you can collect it as a data, and those sites became the source of data. So after source of data, we have collected a lot of data. Now the use of data science is various domain. So if you look at this image, you will see that, from starting from the bottom, credit and insurance we have. So here, with the help of data science, we can detect fraud and risk detection. We can detect the claim predictions. With the sales data, we can find out the discount offering, demand forecasting. With the healthcare data, we can go for the disease prediction data, medication and effective. Now see, the best example is that a lot of data science work is going on these days to find out when a particular country, say India or any other country, will reach its peak for the COVID. Again, when the graph will tend to slow down and when it will be safe, or the COVID situation will be little bit normalized. So what is that? This is mainly a part of data science. What they are doing, they are getting the healthcare related data. They are analyzing it, like how the data is getting increases, what way the population of a particular region or population over the region is getting affected, and what way again the affected number is saturated, and again it tends to go down. The number of cases tends to go down. So this is an example of here disease. This is an example of disease prediction. Okay, so this is what is a part of data science. Now we have a social media. Through that we go for digital marketing and sentimental analysis. We have the marketing where predicting the value of customer, cost saving. Similarly, we have the automation where we go for driving, then aircraft and all things. So this is where what I mean to say is this figure is that everywhere there is an available of data, and you can use the data to predict something. That will be a data science. So data science has application of data science is has a vast. It can be used in a lot of domains. So one of the example we are focusing on is to study the customer's requirement, what it tells, to understand the precise requirement of your customer from the existing data like customer past browsing history, purchase history, age and income. With all the earlier data now and with the vast amount of variety of data, you can train model more effectively, recommended the product of your customers and more precisely. It will bring more business to your organization, right? So I'll show you a live example here, right? So I am going to Google. Now, I just want to buy hard disks. I press enter. You see, can you see my page?
Yes, sir.
Right,
Yes.
right.
Yeah.
So, dear students, you can see that this is written ADS. This is written AD, but from here onwards, this Wikipedia site here onwards, there is no mention of ADA or something. So what basically this ADS or AD means? These are the advertisements. So the point is that when I am trying to find out a hard disk, I have not written my requirement may be a hard disk, a kind of hard disk working model. My requirement may be a kind of hard disk requirement model. Still, I will in this right corner of my image, right corner of my screen, you will see lot of advertisement is going on about the hard disk. So what it tells, it actually reflects this part of the statement that to understand the precise requirement of a customer from the existing data, like customer past browsing history, purchase history, age, income, with all earlier data plus now, With the vast amount of variety of data, you can train the model more effectively and recommend the product of your customer with more precision. So what Google does is that when I am writing something, hard disk working model, I may be interested in knowing how a hard disk actually works, being a computer science student. But parallelly, Google recommended Indian things that it may be sometime I will be more interested to purchase a hard disk also, or probably I am a customer who is going to purchase a hard disk in near future, and immediately in the right side of my screen it start reflecting the advertisement of different hard disks from different company with the price factor. So here I have not told Google that I am interested to purchase a hard disk. Google itself generate query that I may be a probable customer to purchase a hard disk. So this is how the data science work. Okay, I am asking something and Google is thinking that someday I may buy. So why not to attract this particular viewer as a potential customer? So this is what a live example of a part of data science. Google captures the keywords. It doesn't capture the keyword of working model. Okay, it captures the keyword of hard disks. It matches that there is a component that can be different e-commerce used to sell it, and it pops up the e-commerce site immediately in right side of my phone to attract my attention. Okay, this is example of how they used to attract customer with their maybe idea or present data. Going ahead, so data science in decision making. How about if your car had an intelligent drive to home? The self-driving car collects live data from sensors, including radars, cameras, and lasers, to create a map of its surrounding. Based on this data, it makes a decision like when to speed up, when to speed down, when to overtake, and where to take a turn, making use of advanced machine learning algorithm. So see, probably this is the best example, or I will not tell rather best, but this is one of the good example of morning session of IoT. This IoT basically use the self-driving car. So they have the sensors over the car that include radars, cameras, lasers, and that's what it creates. It is capturing the data is being captured by all sensors at a time in a real-time analysis. They made an analysis and they make sure that a self-driving, that is an automatic car, should run smoothly over road without making any accidents. Another example of data science where the data is collected, they are compiled, and decisions are made like what will be the speed of the car, whether the car is going to make a right turn or left turn, and henceforth. Similarly, data science has a vast role play in weather forecasting. There we use the term predictive analytics. Now, what is predictive analytics? We will come to it afterwards. We have a certain information about predictive analysis. Now let us go with the word itself only. So considering weather forecasting as an example, data from ship, aircraft, radar, satellite can be collected and analyzed to build models. These models will not only forecast weather but also help in predicting the occurrence of any natural calamities. It will help to take appropriate measures beforehand and to save many precious lives. So say suppose example, here how the data science is used in weather forecasting for real time. I'll show you one example like I have opened up a site called windy.com. What windy.com does, it collects the data from different sensor, whatever is accessible to it. Not only weather department but satellites and other sensor, and it shows how the wind is flowing, what is the speed of wind, what is the direction of wind over a period. Another thing is that since I am opening this windy.com in this Indian IP address, so by default it is showing me the Indian subcontinent and the flow of wind. Is it visible to you now? Is it visible to your screen?
Yes, sir.
The students, can you see that the wind is flowing now?
Yeah.
What will be how the wind will flow on today is a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday or Friday. So I'll drag it. Like see, the wind will flow like it will change the pattern. So what is this? It's like Friday, Saturday, and all things. It's going to come. So they have used the data science, or rather predictive analysis technique, to show how the weather, especially the wind, its speed, will going to affect in a near future. So this is an example of, this is an example of weather forecasting. So what we did, we made an example of customer requirement using the Google page case study. This is an automation car. Let us not go into, this is an IoT kind of example. I will not go into visualize things. For the weather forecasting, we have seen that how the data science is using the weather forecasting. And again, we are reviewing the things. This is the data science, the blend of various tools, algorithm, and machine learning that just we have studied, we have discussed so far. So hence, data science is primarily used in making decision and prediction and making use of predictive causal analytics. These terms we are going to read now. So, but before going, we have to know like what is data and how to handle the data. So far, we are telling that you will get data from sites, data from social media sites, data from Facebook. So, but what is the data actually? So what is data? Data is something that can be collected and stored, that can be measured, that can be analyzed, and that can be visualized. So what is data? Again, I am telling data is something which can be collected and stored, it can be measured, it can be analyzed, and it can be visualized. Data are of different types. Broadly, it is basically divided into two types: qualitative and quantitative. Again, qualitative is divided into two types: nominal and ordinal. Quantitative is divided into two types: discrete and continuous. So we will go into detail. So what is that? Coming here, first is qualitative, then quantitative. So here, qualitative data. Qualitative data, again we discuss in this slide that we have two types of qualitative data, nominal and ordinal. So if you look at these particular sites, you will get the example of nominal and ordinal data. So first of all, qualitative data deals with characteristics and descriptors that can't be easily measured but can observe subjectively. So what? Quality. For example, I will tell, India is a very beautiful country. Like, how do you measure the beautiful? How? That is a quality. So here, quality data deals with characteristics. So India is a beautiful country. The characteristics are beautiful. And descriptors that can't be easily measured. We cannot measure its beauty, but it can be observed subjectively. We can see the beautiful things in and around our country, and we can tell our country is beautiful, but we cannot measure, we cannot measure them. So that is the qualitative data. Now they are divided into two parts: nominal data and ordinal data. What is nominal data? Data with no inherent order or ranking, such as gender, race, such kind of data is called nominal data. Data with an ordered series, such as shown in table, such kind of data is an ordinal data. So again I am repeating, data with no inherent order or ranking, it's randomly put, like the gender are put, if we select a number of students from a particular class, so there may be a number of boys will be there, number of girls will be there in a random fashion. So that is a kind of example of nominal data. And when say suppose we are selecting the highest scorer from the rank holders from a particular class, then I will be getting the first rank holder in the first, the second rank holder in the second, and in this order. So data with an ordered series is known as ordinal data. Next is quantitative data. Of course, this is the reverse of qualitative data. That means quantitative data we can measure. So here it is also written the same thing. Quantitative data deals with number and things you can measure objectively. You can measure this. There are two types of quantitative data: discrete data and continuous data. Discrete data is categorical data, can hold finite number of possible values. Example is the number of students in the class. continuous data can hold infinite number of possible values, weight of a person. So see again, if we take an a different example, probably if you have seen the old model regulators in our houses, with the fan regulator, old model fan regulator in our houses. The earlier regulator used to be, have even 5 pointers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can adjust my speed of the fan either by putting the pointer of the regulator at 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. But if you see the round or button regulators these days, those are complete circle. There is no pointer like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can adjust the regulator even between something called 1.1 and 2, and I can put some arbitrary 1.5 and I can adjust the regulator. So this is the earlier one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have no option of 1.5. So that was a kind of example for discrete data. These days regulator, where from 0 to 5, anything I can adjust at a continuity. This is an example of a continuous data. Now, if we go back, to our very second slides, we have used here few terms that I have highlighted during the starting, that we will be using something like, concept of statistics, data analysis and machine learning. So during our discussion here, we have reached those concepts. So what is that? Statistics is an area of applied mathematics concerned with the data collection, analysis, interpretation and presentation. We can take an example of it to understand the statistics and its application. The latest sales data have just come in and your boss wants to prepare a report for management on place where the company could improve its business. What should you look for? What should you not look for? So it's like, you are acquainted with a grocery shop, and the owner of the grocery shop gives you a data like, this is my last month sales report. From that sales report data, you have to understand, like, next month what kind of product, there is a higher chances of what kind of products has higher chances of selling. People will come and demand for what kind of product, and essentially that will improve the business. So how do you work on that? That is the fundamental concept of statistics comes in picture here, where the data collection, analysis and interpretations will be used as a statistical method to improve the business. So in statistical terminology, we have two things. It's not two things. We have the factors, that population. What is population? A collection of set of individual objects or events whose properties are to be analyzed. You can see in the figure that is on the top side of the PowerPoint presentations. And a sample is a subset of population is called a sample. A well-chosen sample will contain most of the information about a particular population parameter. So that means that from population, when you are selecting a sample, you will get all kind of, almost all kind of samples. So in the sample, you will see that there the variety present in population, a single variety is present in the sample. Now, coming back, like when we are discussing about the population to sample, we have something called sampling techniques. So sampling techniques are of two types, probability and non-probability. Probability are random, systematic and stratified. Non-probability are of four types: snowball, convenience, judgment and quota. Since we are into basic of data science, we will not go into deep in sampling technique or statistics. We will be just focusing on the important sampling parts. So in random sampling, there are again three types as we discussed: random sampling, then systematic sampling, then stratified sampling. So what is that? Each member of a population has equal chance of being selected in a sample. So random sample means each member of population has equal chance of being selected in the sample. Now, systematic sampling means every nth record is chosen from the population to be a part of sample. So you can see in the figure, we have chosen the second group, we have chosen the fourth group, and we have chosen the sixth group. So in a group of 6, we have chosen the group that is having an even number. We have chosen a group that is having an even number. So this type of sampling is known as systematic sampling. And stratified sampling means a stratum is a subset of population that shares at least one common characteristics in case of its gender. It means random sampling is used to select sufficient number of subjects from each stratum. So what is happening? From a sample we are dividing from the population, we are dividing them into two different subsets. In this particular example, we are divided into male subset and female subset. From male subset, we have randomly choose 2. From the female subset, we have randomly selected 2. So ultimately, 2 female and 2 male consist of stratified sampling. So coming back to our data science, what are the different skill set we required? We required a bit of statistical knowledge, we required a programming knowledge, we required a data extraction and processing knowledge, we required the data wrangling and exploration knowledge. We need to know a machine learning, big data processing framework, and data visualization. So, like, who are the people that are going to work with all this? Because these days, when we started the discussion, I told that why data science is required. Because these days there are a job opportunity for data science. People are discussing about data analytics post and all things. So who are the people that are going to work with? So there are basically 4 different categories of people that they work in data science. Okay, so what are they? They are business administrator and exploratory data analysis. They work, their work job is to analyze the data. Exploratory data analysis, machine learning and advanced algorithm techniques, and data product engineer, they work as a data scientist. So now the question is, yes, so here we have 2 terms, the data analyst and the data scientist. These particular 4 blocks, business administration, exploratory data analysis, machine learning, advanced algorithm, and data product engineering, these 4 blocks tell us that 2 of the blocks have been handled by analyst and the 3 of the blocks have been handled by the data scientist. So the basic question arises that what are the difference between a data analyst and the data scientist? So what are they? The difference is that data analyst usually explain what is going on by process of history of the data, whereas data scientist not only does the exploratory analysis to discover insight from it, but also uses various advanced machine learning algorithms to identify the occurrence of a particular event in future. Data scientists will look at the data from many angles, sometimes angles not known earlier. So what is the difference? The difference is that data scientists are those who try to provide us new techniques to analyze the data, and data analysts are those who understand the characteristics of data, select one among the best available techniques to analyze and produce the information or knowledge that is useful to us. Now, let me repeat once more. See, data scientists are those who give us new methods, who propose new methods through which our data can be analyzed, and data analysts are those who select the best methods for a particular data to provide us the most appropriate knowledge. Now, how do this data analysis and data science works? We explain the individual approach for data analysis as well as data science with the help of figure. Next slide. Data analysis include descriptive analytics and prediction to a certain extent. Data science is more about predictive, causal, and analytics and machine learning. So let us go ahead and find out what are they. See, relationship between the data analysis and data science. So here, these pictures clearly shows how there is a difference. So see, when it comes to descriptive, the data science and data analysis, then about the predictive, that is a correlation, then we have again predictive, causation, then we have predictive and machine learning. So if you look at the triangle, the topmost is knowing what we know, knowing what we don't know, not knowing what we don't know. So this is how a data analyst and the data science used to work, and together both of them used to work on the data science features on the data to produce the 100% efforts. Now, who is a data scientist? The data scientist must have a knowledge of mathematics, business and technology to propose new techniques as to how to extract knowledge out of data. So again, what is data analysis? Now coming back, we see during this time we have we have a lot of keywords we have used. Like here we have used predictive analysis and all things. So here we are into that. What is predictive causal analytics? If we want to develop a model which can predict the possibilities of a particular event in future, we need to apply predictive causal analytics. For example, if I provide money on credit, then probability of customer making future credit payment on time is a matter of concern for me. It is a simple thing. If I lend the money to you, what is the probability, or what is the chance that you will return me the money on time? Second is, I can build a model which can perform predictive analysis on the payment history of the customer to predict if the future payment will be on time or not. So see, let us explain these particular information in a more real time. What we do. Two of my friends has asked me for a financial help. Two of my friends, say Ram and Sham, they requested me that in financial crisis they want some amount from me as a loan, and when their financial crisis will be over, when they will get the money in their hand, they will return me the money whatever I have given them, whatever way I have helped them. Now say suppose assume I have a money to pay or to help one single friend. Whom should I help, Ram or Lakshman? Assume both have the same importance in my life when it comes to emotionally. So I will not go in emotionally select whether I will help Ram or Sham. I will select them with the help of this predictive causal analytics. It means I will check how many times Ram has taken money from me and how many times he has returned it within time, how many times he has returned it after the time, and how many times he has not returned it. The same analysis I will do for Sham. I will make an analysis of Sham, that how many times Sham has taken money from me, how many times he has returned it on time, returned it beyond the time, and not returned it properly. With this comparison, I will decide who is the better. If I give the money, who has a better chance to return me on time, and accordingly with that parameter I will select Ram or Sham. This is an example of a predictive causal analytics. Next is prospective analytics. What is prospective analysis? If we want to develop a model which has the intelligence of taking its own decision and ability to modify it with dynamic parameter, we need prospective analytics. Let us go into detail. It's not predicts but suggests a range of prescribed action and association outcomes. For example, in Google's self-driving car, the data gathered by vehicle can be used to train the self-driving car. One can run algorithm on this data to bring intelligence to it. This will enable the car to take decisions like when to turn, which path to take, when to slow down, and to speed up. So, you have a self-driving car. You have written again the self-driving car came into example which is closely associated with the IoT features. So, sensors are gathering data. That is giving the data in a real time to the processor. The processor is computing the data, and the vehicle is running without making any accidental collision in the street. So, when the vehicle is running without any accident and collision in the street, and assume that every time the vehicle are facing new problem, it's not predefined that another vehicle from the opposite side will come from the left direction, or it will get to turn at around exactly after 30 meters. These are not predefined. The sensor used to collect the data, and during the runtime of real system, they used to decide what decision need to be taken to make the car drive without any accidental collision. So this is a real-time analysis of intelligent algorithm, and this is an example of predictive analytics. Next, the term that we have encountered a few more times during our presentation is that machine learning for making predictions. So what is that? If we have transactional data of a finance company and one need to build a model to determine the future trend, the machine learning algorithm are best to use. This falls under the paradigm of supervised learning. It is called supervised learning because we have already data based on which we can train our machine. For example, a fraud detection. Just a minute. For example, a fraud detection can be trained using historical record of fraud and purchase. So what is this? Like machine learning is just a minute. Okay, let it be. So what machine learning is? Here we have got two terms. One is we actually got one term, supervised. Now learning is a process where you are learning new things. Say suppose you are listening to these lectures and you are hearing a few words like machine learning, transaction, data, supervised. So these words are new to you. You are trying to get it understand. You feel interest and that reside in your memory. So this is the process of learning. What is supervised learning? Supervised learning is that kind of learning when you have an available resource through which you can get yourself taught. There are two types of, basically broadly we divide the learning process into two types, supervised and unsupervised. Unsupervised is what you learn out of your experience. Supervised is what you learn out of any media. That may be your faculty, that may be your teacher, that may be a book, that may be a computer, anything. From anything when you learn something, that is supervised learning. You learn something out of your own experience, that is unsupervised learning. For example, you read somewhere in your during your earlier days when you were a small kid. When we read when we were a small kid that if we put our finger in the fire, our finger will get burned. Let me repeat the sentence. If we put our finger on the fire, our finger will get burned. So this statement maybe was written in a book, maybe was told by seniors of a family, that may include parents, grandparents, or your brothers and sisters. They told this statement and they taught us, and we know very well if we put finger in the fire, the finger will get burnt. But what actually the burning means, that you can experience when you have burnt, you have a bad memory of burning. So that is, burning is an experience of learning. But if you had a burning, it is a painful sensation. But that is an example of unsupervised learning. And if you put a finger in fire, it may burn. Told by somebody or written somewhere you read, it is a supervised learning. So in this, what happens is, machine learning is a process using which learning is facilitated. Means machines started learning by themselves from the available data and the pattern that is obtained from the data. So that's what I was coming to, machine learning for pattern discovery. If you don't have a parameter based on which you can make prediction, then you need to find out the hidden pattern within the data sets to be able to make meaningful prediction, right? This is an unsupervised model, no predefined levels for grouping. The most common algorithm used for pattern discovery is clustering. For example, let's assume that you are working in a telephone company and you need to establish a network by putting towers in a region. You can use the clustering technique to find those tower locations which will ensure that all the user receives optimum signal strength. Okay, so there is an example. Let me define this, or let me discuss this example in a very basic way. With the earlier example of giving loan to my friend Ram and Shyam. So in that example, if you just recall that example, I have told that I have seen how the transaction of Ram has occurred, how many times he had taken a money, and he has returned me which time, beyond time and not returned me. Similarly for Sham, how many times he has taken a money, how many times he has returned in time, returned beyond the time and have not returned. But say assume one condition I put it to that. That is, though Ram has a better record compared to Sham in returning the money to me on time, but these days Ram is facing a difficulty in some kind of gambling. These days Ram is facing difficulty in some kind of gambling, whereas Sham, who has a poorer record compared to Ram in returning the money back to me, is a daily work. He is a 9 to 5 job holder kind of man, and he used to work in an office. So these are the hidden pattern. These are not in the earlier pattern of when we look at their pattern of returning the money. This was not there. That their present status. This is a hidden pattern. So machine learning goes one step ahead in telling me that though Ram has a better record of returning you the money, but these days, since he is in gambling, he is himself is in a probabilistic state. So it is better that to lend the money to Sham will be a better option to get back the money. Okay, so this is how the machine learning for a pattern discovery works. Now, need for machine learning. Here, machine learning can be worked on. Just a minute. So, machine learning is used in cloud computing, is used in Internet of Things, and is used in social media. When it comes to cloud computing, you have a session. When it comes to Internet of Things, you have a session. Social media, everybody knows it's we can take an example of Facebook, Twitter, and all things. So I don't find any details in going into that. Going ahead, we have used the term BI, and I told the term is business intelligence. So what is that term, and how we can compare with the term data science? So business intelligence basically analyzes and provides data to find insight into describe the business trend. Business intelligence enables you to take data from external and internal sources to prepare it, run queries on it, and to create dashboard to answer the questions like quarterly revenue analysis or business problem. Business intelligence can evaluate the impact of certain event in near future. So basically, if you look at this further, we have data science is more forward-looking approach and exploratory way with the focus on analyzing past or current data and predicting the future outcome with aim of making informed decision. Data science answers the open-ended questions what and how events can occur. So what is that? Data science is the vast one. When we are doing some process of data science, and if it is related to our business, then we call it business intelligence. So we can assume that business intelligence is a part of data science. So here this table particularly shows how you can contrast business intelligence and data science. So data science is structured, whereas business intelligence is structured. Data science is both structured and unstructured.
I am just interrupting. Actually, one of the participants has by mistake clicked on present now. So
Right.
kindly, if you click on, you can present now and open the window.
Okay.
Otherwise, I will request the candidates, if this problem happens, kindly click on pin. Okay, if you click on pin, then the screen will be visible.
So I have to, madam, I have to close everything and open it. Would you like to do that? Would you like me to do that? Is it visible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It is visible now.
Okay. So, acha ma'am, how much time do I have?
You can continue.
Up to?
You can continue up to 5:30 or 5:40.
Right. So, it's I will see up to 5:30 where I can reach. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
So this so see, like as I told, business intelligence, data science is a big one, and when we are doing the data science process, that is with for the business, that became a business intelligence. So in one way, we can say that business intelligence is a part of a data science. So even in these tables also, you can see that business intelligence, we have a structured data, whereas data science we have both structured and unstructured. In business intelligence we have statistics and visualization, but in data science we have that statistics is also present, visualization also there, because when we have a graph analysis, it is a kind of visualization. Business intelligence focuses on past and present, the data from past to present. In data science we focus on present to future. So when we are trying to predict something, it is a data science comes, business intelligence is not so much helpful. Again, there are the tools, some tools are common like R, and Python is also used for business intelligence and data science. Okay, so basically in this, if someone asks what is the difference between the business intelligence and data science, one of the most important is that focus. Means business intelligence can read the past record and can tell me about the present, whereas the data science can read the present records and tell me about the future. Okay, how the future is going to come. So with that, like life cycle of data science we have. I'm just skipping this and I'm going to one part. So common tools used for this type of data science is SQL, R or Python for programming, and SAS or Access. Now, when I am telling that, when I'm showing this type of site and I am telling you this is an unstructured data, and we have to extract information out of it so that we can put the information in a certain format and we can compare it. We can write a query language kind of thing so that the computer can compare it. So how to extract or how to capture information from such type of sites and to put it in a formatted one. One of the tools that is used for, one of the techniques that is used for this is word scraping. One of the techniques that is used is word scraping. So what is word scraping? It's a method to extract data from website depending on the structure. It is a simple way. Okay, so here since it's already 5:20, I will directly go and I will show you, I will try to show you like how the word scraping program can be written and can be run over the Python. Right? So now can you see my screen?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right. I'm going to run the Python program of for a word scraping using Google Colab. Okay. See, Google Colab or the Collaboratory is a cloud-based interface, is a Google product that help us in work with the data science, machine learning. There are certain data that and we can use to run a different kind of program. So here I am running the Python program. Instead of using my machine, I am using the Colab interface. So it's essentially like you can type to Google Colab, you can get into the interface and you can run your own Python program instead of configuring it on your own desktop. So this is my Python program. Okay, what I do is that I have used the Snapdeal, where you can see. Then I have used to search the hard disks. Okay, or let us go into another things. Just a minute. Here I have used the hard disk cover. So when I run the program, it's like this. Just let me show you how to run the program in Colab, and then I'm defining it. So see, this is what extracted. Okay, further it generates. Here I have written to calculate the hard disk cases, and this is what I got. So what I mean to say is that if you would like to generate, this is a program which is known as, this program is known as web scraping. Through web scraping program, we can write the code, to generate, to extract information out of a website in a structured format. Let me show you another example. This is an example from Amazon, where you can see here I have searched for hard disk. This is an example for Amazon, where you can see this is I have searched for hard disk. So what I did is that I simply went to Amazon. I take this link, I copy this link, and I paste it here. Now I am just extracting information. I am just running my Python program by clicking this button. See, it started generating. You can see on the right side of the window that how I have generated a table from this site. How I have generated a table from this site. This is an unstructured data, and how I have changed this table is a structured data. So SAM.csv .csv file I can open in Excel, and then after opening in Excel I can do various type of sorting, filtering or whatsoever. So this is a small program which demonstrate to capture the data from an unstructured source, that is a website, to capture the data from an unstructured store and to store the data in a structured format, This type of technique is known as web scraping. We are scraping the data from web. I have used the Python program where I have used the Beautiful Soup library to extract data. So this is the first step of data science where I am trying to capture the data from an unstructured source. After I have captured, I can open the data in an Excel format. I can open the data in an Excel format, right? And after that, I can make various type of analysis using different tools and different sorting and all things. So data science is basically capturing the data from an unstructured, analyzing the data using various tools and making a prediction about certain decisions. So this is where I just tried demonstrating what is data science. Just a minute. So this is in today's presentation, I just tried to demonstrate the basic of data science, why it is required, how we are working on it, and a very small demonstration of capturing the data from an unstructured source and putting it in a formatted way, so that in next step we can able to make some prediction out of that formatted data. So I think for today we have discussed a bit of it. Anisha madam, can we stop here?
Yes, sir. So now it's 5:30. You may continue for 5 minutes if you want. You can continue. If you want, you can continue.
No, thing is that we just demonstrated that wave scraping techniques, the Python program and the Google Lab. If I need to continue, that will take a bit of long time, because after capturing the data, then we have a different process to analyze this data.
Yeah. Okay, so thank you very much, sir, for accepting our invitation and providing such a nice and informative lecture. So it was our last session. So now I would like to request our head of the Department of Mathematics PG, Dr. Jayanti Kumar De, sir, to please give the vote of thanks.
Thank you,
sir.
So, honorable speakers of this international webinar, respected Principal Sir, Dr. Asim Kumar Bera, Honorable President, Mr. Tilak Kumar Chakraborty, participants, my colleagues and dear students. It's my privilege to have been asked to propose a vote of thanks on this international webinar, Future Generation Computing System, organized by Department of Computer Science and BCA. On behalf of the Department of Computer Science and BCA of Mahishadra Raj College, I am very humbled to say thank you to our distinguished speakers, Professor Rajkumar Bua, Director, Cloud Computing and Distributed System Lab, the University of Melbourne, Australia. Professor J.K. Mondal, Professor and Dean, Faculty of Engineering Technology and Management, Department of Computer Science and Engineering, University of Kalyan. Professor Anirban Das, Professor, Department of Computer Science and Engineering, University of Engineering and Management, Kolkata. And Dr. Anirban Mitra, Associate Professor, Department of Computer Science and Engineering, Amity University, Kolkata, for allotting their precious time or making excellent informative presentations and making the webinar interesting and meaningful. I would like to propose hearty vote of thanks to Mr. Tilak Kumar Chakraborty, President of the governing body of our college. I would like to express our profound gratitude to our Principal Sir, Dr. Asim Kumar Bera, for his presence on this same webinar. I would also like to thank Dr. Anisha Mukherjee, Head of the Department, and other faculty members of the Department of Computer Science and BCA for organizing the international webinar in very short time. I am happy to express vote of thanks to our teaching and non-teaching staff members, participants, and their students who have made the webinar a grand success. Once again, thank you to all. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Actually, Jayanta sir and Principal sir has supported me from day one. So without their support, it would not be possible to organize this webinar. I would like to thank Dr. Nabobroto Ghoshal and Professor Shumir Patro also, because their immense support also inspired us a lot. And I would like to thank Sanjay sir also, because he has given me the idea of this. You can just, in that case, as the number of participants was quite large, so he has given me the idea that you can use a Google domain, so that will be beneficial for you. So then I just procured the domain for this purpose. So I would like to thank all of my senior teachers, senior colleagues, because their support always inspired me a lot. And thanks to our speakers also. So thanks to all the participants, because without your presence, it would not be possible, because large number of participants we have in this webinar. So good night, everyone. So thank you. I would share the link of the videos. I will share the video recording links through your email, and the e-certificates will also be provided to you, all of you. So again, thank you very much. So good night.